Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Oxbridge Formula as we bring you the ultimate guide to colleges at Oxford and at Cambridge. Today, we are delighted to have Kyla and Charlotte joining us, giving you a first-hand insight into the real life at the Queen's College in Oxford. Now, please remember our support doesn't stop here. At the Oxbridge Formula, we also offer a variety of in-depth online sessions and intensive courses aimed at best preparing you for applying to Oxbridge STEM subjects as well. And you can visit our webpage for more information. The links will be there in the description below this video. And don't miss out on our blog for more content on student life and experiences at Oxbridge. So, hi you two, how are you doing today? So let's get to know you. I wonder if you could tell us what subjects you study at Queen's and for how long you have been there.
Hi, so I'm Charlotte. I study German at Queen's. I've just finished my first year. I come from Derby, which is in the Midlands, and yeah, just been chilling here in quarantine.
Haven't we all? Lovely. And Kyla, what do you do?
So I'm Kyla. I do chemistry, and like Charlotte, I've just finished my first year. So I'm from the Wirral, which is near Liverpool. So yeah, but also just chilling in quarantine.
Yes. Oh, we'd love to see it. So I wonder if you could cast your minds back. I know you both just finished your first year, but before that even began, so Charlotte, why did you choose Queen's, or did you choose it at all? Did you make an open application or get pulled?
Yeah, I chose Queen's. I think I just chose it because I actually went to loads and loads of colleges because I'm one of these people where I have to make an informed decision. I have to know what I'm choosing. And I think I just settled on Queen's because it seemed like it had a nice balance of everything. Because I think there's a few colleges which are just massive, and they obviously have the Oxford feel about them, but it's also really intimidating, to step into Christchurch or something. It's just too grand. Whereas Queen's has pretty buildings and things, but it doesn't really have that intimidating feel about it. Which that's probably why I chose it in the end.
Why do you think that those places feel intimidating? Is it perhaps kind of the history or the tourism?
I'm not sure. I think maybe the tourism. I think because when you think of Oxford, they're the first places that they're the most famous places, and
they're the postcard colleges.
Yeah, it's kind of especially kind of coming from a place where you don't hear of people from my school going to Oxford, or not many anyway. It's not the first place that you go when you're from Derby. You don't even really go to university. A lot of people in my family never went to university. My parents never went, so it was kind of a big step to think, oh, I'm gonna try for Oxford, and then kind of seeing all these grand colleges, I was like, no, I need to find somewhere a bit smaller, a bit more nice.
Oh, well, I'm glad that you found Queen's is for you. But yeah, I think it's right that as much as there is a massive reputation with those kind of postcard colleges, I like that saying, there's a lot of pressure, I think, as well, but it's nice that at Queen's you kind of feel like you get the best of both worlds. So Kyla, what about you? Did you choose to apply to Queen's, and if so, why did you do that?
Yeah, so I picked Queen's. I remember reading about it in the prospectus before I came to the open day, and I just really liked the look of it. So I do quite a lot of music, not to any kind of impressive level, but I just enjoy doing it. And Queen's has the oldest music society in Oxford, so that was quite a pull for me. And also, I feel I know this is going to sound really weird, but I always associated London with being the place where you went to the theatre and it was really cool. And the bus that goes to London stops directly outside Queen's. And I remember reading that in the prospectus and being wow, this is close to all the action and stuff like that. And then I went to see it on the open day, and that just kind of confirmed everything. I think I went to see like Charlotte, I went to see a lot of colleges, and they were all really, really nice. But yeah, when I walked into Queen's, it just had such a nice atmosphere, I think, and it felt really friendly and stuff like that. And it just kind of, it fit with what I wanted in terms of where I wanted to live, I think.
That is a really good point, actually. I think a lot of people's decisions are ultimately based on the feeling you get from being there in person. So if you can go on things as you said, open days and stuff, that is so helpful just to it's not always about the kind of the history and the architecture, but sometimes it's about the people there as well. Yeah, and I guess that's why we're creating these interviews and these videos, is because it's about kind of the personal experience as well as like the facts and, you know, everything behind it all, the statistics of who and what. But Kyla, please don't be modest. What music do you play? What groups are you involved in at the college?
Yeah, so I sing in the choir. Not like the chapel, I sing in the chorus, and then I'm the treasurer for the Music Society as well now.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, no.
Would you say the choir is more professional and then the other one is more for fun?
Yeah, I definitely I think because I didn't want to do the full chapel choir because my course is very like contact hours heavy, and I wanted to get involved with a lot of the access stuff. So I decided that probably wasn't for me. But the EMS chorus is only an hour a week, and it's really like friendly and small, and we rehearse in the chapel, and it's just really nice. It's on a Thursday evening, and it's a nice way to kind of relax in the week. So yeah.
Oh, that sounds so nice. So, you know, whether you're kind of somebody who sings as like their main hobby or like just as something that you want to do on the side of everything else, that's lovely to know that you can do both.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good for that. And like we have there was like a karaoke night in the beer cellar, and there's been like different kind of concerts going on at the end of terms and things like that. So there's like loads of opportunities to do it quite casually as well as like very formally.
You have a beer cellar.
And
yeah. Yes, we do. It's great. It's very cool.
It's very good. Yeah, I think that even like I'm not really involved in music at Queen's, but it definitely is a big part of college life. And like even if you're not directly involved with it, it's just a nice thing to, especially at Christmas, because we have like a big Christmas event and we have dinner in hall, and the choir comes and sings Christmas songs to us, and that's really
wow.
Yeah, and there's obviously the concerts are open to everyone, and there's a lot of nice like music things. So yeah, it is a big part.
The song's fantastic, and that's obviously completely open access, which is really nice. Yeah.
So what if you're not so much of like an artsy type person, but what if you kind of prefer the sporty side of things? Do you have a lot of college teams or?
Yeah, I think we do. I haven't actually been to many. We have like football for women and men, and netball, hockey, I think as well. I think we basically have everything. But I'd say that sport at Queen's is probably like more casual than maybe other colleges. Like I don't think we're like particularly like competitive. There's a few people at Queen's who play for like uni clubs. So if you are like good at a sport, there is the opportunity to play at a uni club instead of just a like college team. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure we've got 2 football teams. I think I may be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure we have like.
Is it 2 or 3? I don't know.
We have like a set that's like they play properly, and you know it's like it's about the football, and then we have a set that's like a very kind of much more social, like have a bit of a kickabout kind of vibe, which I think is quite nice.
Yeah, no, I think it is just 2. Yeah, so we have like the first, and then the animals they call themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds great. I mean, talk about that. I mean, you've got it all.
Yeah.
Talking about the animals, are you guys party animals? Like, do you have any kind of bops or social occasions at the college, or any clubs nearby?
Yeah, I mean, I go out like quite a lot. I'd say like 2-3 times a week. Yeah, we have bops. What is it? Every 2 weeks? Every 2 Fridays?
Yeah, they're every fortnight, I think.
Yeah.
They're such a lot as well.
Yeah, they're really fun. They're just really nice because like a way to get everyone in college together. Because I mean, usually we don't dress up in Queen's though. I feel like that's more of a thing in other colleges, but I've never really like put effort into dressing up.
I feel like some people do really go for it.
Yeah.
And that's seen as like a weird thing, but at the same time, you kind of don't have to. Like, some people embrace the costume theme. Some people kind of, they don't really go for it, but it's no one gets shouted at. Nice.
Yeah, it's all about inclusivity. It's not about that.
Yeah.
And then we've got a college cocktail as well, which is great.
Whoa. Explain that to me.
So our college cocktail is the Sex on the Quad. So it's a sex on the beach with an extra shot of vodka, and it's only £3. So
You're actually my face.
By the picture of Bops, and there's just like they're just tipping it in the glasses on the bar. It's brilliant.
Yeah. No, they banned it last term because we bought too many of them.
They were like, "You guys are getting through this." We were like, well.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. It sounds totally wild. So who said that social life at Oxford was dead, huh?
Exactly.
It's probably worth mentioning that on the opposite end of that spectrum of like social events at Oxford, so there's the BOP, which is, as we said, the big organised party. Apparently is what it stands for, and like everybody gets dressed up and you just go for it, and it's so much fun, and it's inside the college. And then you also have the typical formal dinners in the dining hall. And I know at some colleges, for example, like my own, you don't have to wear your student gowns, you just wear kind of formal dress. How does it work at Queen's?
I'm pretty sure at Queen's, so you have to wear formal gowns, but only when like the high tables, so kind of the provost and the provost guests are in. So I think that only applies, it's like 4th and 6th week or something. It's not many weeks, and then if it's not one of those weeks, you don't have to wear your gown. But they put like a notice on the hall board like on the Saturday morning to say whether it's one of the weeks where you have to wear your gown or not. But I think the majority you don't have to, unless you're going to second sitting in the week, and then you always do.
Yeah, because I haven't been to many like formal dinners apart from kind of the organised ones. So we have in Freshers Week, we have like, I think it's called the Provost dinner, where it's...
What does Provost mean? Sorry.
Oh, it's the head
of the college.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so we have the Provost dinner in Freshers Week, which everyone can go to, and I don't know if you wear gowns for that or not. I can't remember.
I think it was just like formal wear.
Yeah. We just wore formal wear. No, I think because we weren't matriculated yet, so we weren't allowed to wear gowns.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But then, like, all the fellows and things, they wore their gowns for that, and we had drinks in the upper library, and then like a 3-course dinner, and it was all a bit fun and fancy.
That's what I always find crazy. I remember chatting to one of the librarians about it. Is that you can't drink tea and coffee in the upper library, but you can drink alcohol, which is ridiculous. Like, so yeah, you can't drink coffee in case you spill it on a book, but you can drink red wine. It makes no sense to me. It's so weird.
That is so rare. That's amazing. That blows my mind.
It's really mental because our library is like, the upper library is like very fancy. I'm pretty sure it's like BuzzFeed's 6th.
Yeah, it's on the list.
I think it's on one of their lists.
Ooh.
So it's really nice, but yeah, and then all of a sudden you get there and they talk about how like you can't touch anything in the upper library, and then they're like, anyway, but yeah, go and have some prosecco up there, and it's really like, it makes no sense, but it's great.
Well, to me, it sounds like they've got their priorities in the right place. So in general, what is it like to have the library in your college when you're not drinking in it? I mean, perhaps do you have a lower library instead of an upper library? Yeah. And how is your library open 24/7 or is it limited hours?
Yeah, the upper library is limited. But
the upper library is limited to staffed hours, I think. But the librarians are in, I think they're just 9 to 5 on a week, and then I think about the weekends. But they're definitely every day.
An hour on a Saturday where you can take guests into the upper librry, and it's like the only
thing. Yeah.
It's like a brief window that you can take a guest up. And then we've got the lower library and then the new library, which is like basement level.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got 3 floors, so it's
kind of the library and the lower library are like more fancy, I'd say, and then
they're very like
more modern. Yeah. I prefer to work in a new library because you can kind of see everyone and it's more open, whereas in the upper library and the lower library, there's kind of like individual seats in the bookshelves, which is quite nice, but I kind of like the social aspect of the new library.
Yeah, that's fair. See, I'm not really a library worker personally. I think it's because I have so many contact hours. Like, if I'm going to work in the library, like, I mean, I have worked in the Radcliffe, but that's closed now because it's becoming a college, which is a bit random. But so I've worked in the Veer Harmsworth, which is where the science library has become. And then I have a Oxford Union membership as well, so I've worked in the Union Library a couple of times. But
Oh, that's really pretty.
It's really nice, yeah. And what's quite nice, they've got a lot of different rooms. So they've got rooms you can speak in, which is a lot more chill.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I work mainly in either like Queen's Library or the Radcan or the Taylorian, which is my faculty library. I rotate it about a little bit.
It's nice to get a bit of a change of scenery, I guess. I've worked in the library quite a few times actually, because they have a multi-purpose room, which is it's got like DVDs and like a screen and stuff in, but it's what's the word? Soundproofed. It's soundproofed. So I remember we had a tutorial, our first ever problem sheet for organic chemistry. We all got in Freshers Week and we were like, "Ooh, this is hard." So our tutor was like, "Oh, if you want to like, discuss it amongst yourselves, you can." So as like a collective of like the 5 chemists, we booked out the multi-purpose room and went and sat in there and like
so helpful.
And like our textbooks and went and like sat in there and kind of worked it out. So that was really nice. And then we've also done that a couple of times in our hall has like hall cafe, which is where the hall is just open. I don't know what hours it is, Charlotte, do you?
See, I've never been, but I'm pretty sure it's basically like between, I should know this because I'm food rep. I really should know.
Yeah.
It's like sometime between like breakfast and lunch. I think it must be 10 to 12.
And then 2 to 4 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Because like breakfast is like quarter past 8 to quarter to 9, and then lunch is 12:30 to 1:30, 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then dinner is either first sitting is I think 6:30 and second sitting is 7:15.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you have 2 sittings. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so second sitting you have to be down to. Yeah,
that sounds fair. I'm glad you mentioned about being the food rep. Sorry that you've kind of put your foot in it, because my next question was going to be, what is the food like at college? And especially, I'd be interested to know because I'm a vegetarian. So if I went to Queen's, would there be something for me? Or?
Well, I think that is definitely something that we need to work on. Because the food rep is there's 2 of us, so Katie is the other one, and she's a veggie, and she can never find anything. Like, she doesn't have as much selection as I do as a meat eater. And I think like I've spoken to college a little bit about it, but it's difficult because the staff are furloughed, so obviously
of course
get them to like do any work on it now because that wouldn't be fair. So it's kind of just like pause at the moment. But I think the thing with the food at college is that it is quite a slow process to get things done sometimes. So the previous food reps managed to get vegetarian puddings in, which was like a really good achievement. But we have a new chef coming, so he's apparently very aware of like vegetarianism and like sustainability in food and things. So hopefully there might be a few more vegetarian options come next year, because I think he's actually arriving this month.
So exciting.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think I love the food for me, but I think for vegetarians it is probably not as good as it could be, especially because it is the same price for meat and veggie. So I think there could be more choice. I mean, it's definitely good at lunch. At lunch, the lunch are really, really good, but I think at dinner, it's kind of sometimes hit and miss with the veggie options.
Even though I would say, to be fair, I have a couple of times like chosen the veggie option over the meat option.
That's the thing.
One night that we have, it's like halloumi and like pepper and like med veg skewer, and it's really nice.
Yeah,
I would.
I always opt for that.
Yeah, sometimes it's coming like really, really good, but sometimes it isn't as good. So yeah. But I'd say like definitely the lunch at Queen's is really good because it's so cheap and you get so much choice. Like you can just put it on the plate and it never comes to more than like £3. which is great. And I think the best thing also is JCRT, which we have every single day at 4.
Every day?
Every day, yeah. It's literally amazing, where we just like get those snacks in, and we just sell them back to the JCR at, you know, the price that we bought them. And we can also make cheese on toast and stuff, and you can just come down and chill with your friends and have a nice break. So yeah, that's definitely the best part of food at Queen's, I think.
So when you say about it being like linked to the JCR, the Junior Common Room, does that mean it's open to all kind of undergraduates at the college?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I bet that becomes quite a social occasion as well. That must be really lovely.
Really nice. Yeah. You can see people in the library like each other, like, you going, are we going? Like,
you can make them jealous.
Comes to 4 o'clock and we're just like, let's go get the food.
I'm sure you need a study break at that point, and you can come back to the libraries and stuff. Yeah. And speaking of that, actually, am I right in saying that Queen's is quite centrally located? Do you find that helpful, that you've got the massive Bodleian Library and the Radcliffe Camera just up the road? Is that nice?
I really like Queen's location. I think that's probably one of the reasons I picked it, is because it's got a nice vibe of, it's very close to town, and close to like the covered market and, you know, your libraries, like clubs, restaurants, like shops, all that kind of thing. Like Westgate's like about a 7-minute walk maybe.
That's quite lethal when a shopping centre is that close.
Yeah, that's true. But then what's quite nice, I think, is like, even though Queen's itself is on High Street, which is like very busy, once you actually go in our college, because it's not open to tourists or anything, like the big door shuts behind you, and it's like very like peaceful, I think. But it is nice close to everything, especially because my department's like not massively close to the centre.
Okay, how long does it take to walk there to the science?
Probably about 25 minutes usually. Because it's in like the science, like the STEM area. So it's not too bad. You can, I mean, to be fair, I've done it in 15. I've done it at a run. But at a
well, you could cycle as well. The city's good for that.
Oh yeah, you could get there by bike like pretty quickly. But yeah, no, I think like it is really nice having you can just kind of be like, oh, I'm gonna pop to the shops kind of thing, rather than having to be like, oh, it needs to be like a big, it's a trek out kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I really like the location of Queen's, and especially because you have like the front gate and then the back gate as well, which goes straight onto Queen's Lane. So I often go out the back to get to lectures and things, because it's a quicker way, because you just go down Queen's Lane and then you're out onto like Broad Street, and then you're right next to where I have my lectures. So yeah, it's really cool.
I think it's worth mentioning as well for anybody watching this video that at the Oxbridge Formula we have a guide. We have a book which will show you inside it just like a visual map of where all of these colleges are in Oxford and in Cambridge as well, because we can't forget that there's a Queen's College in Cambridge as well, but they're by no means the same at all, just similar names and connections. But it will show you where these are if you want to know about where your faculty is. If you don't do chemistry or German, then please be sure to check that out. But also, Charlotte and Kyla, I can't forget that it's not all about what's outside college, it's about what's inside as well. And some final questions I had for you concern the accommodation at Queen's. So how does that work, arriving in your first year? How have you found your accommodation?
Yeah, so in first year you just kind of get given rooms by college, and freshers all either live in Front Quad or Caradus. So Front Quad is like in main college, and then Caradus is like just the other side of Queen's Lane, so it's literally like 30 seconds away. And I was living in Front Quad in like a attic room at the top. But I really loved my accommodation first year in the end, because it was just like really cozy and nice. And I really like the fact that freshers live like so close to college, like in college, because it's good to kind of just be able to like nip everywhere really quickly, like in first year, and like
and it means things like you're more likely to participate in like JCR meetings and go to JCR and eat in hall, and it kind of automatically like pulls you into being part of the community, I think, a little bit more when you live on site.
Yeah, it does sound really cute, and especially if you're looking out onto the quad, you can see those people and you kind of feel welcome to join them, I guess. That's nice.
Yeah.
I lived in Carradus this year, so I didn't have the grand room, but I did have an ensuite. So you kind of way up, and like Carradus rooms are smaller, and they're like,
my room was tiny actually, but it was just cozy. Like it was in the corner.
Okay.
But I think the thing with front quad is that like the room sizes vary. So a lot of front quad rooms are like big, but Carradus are all kind of like a standard. I think quite a standard size.
Yeah, I mean, I had like one of the smallest rooms in Carradus because I lived like directly above the gate, so my room was tiny. Yeah, I didn't like it though. I thought it was quite nice.
But then it doesn't really matter. Like I think it's quite easy to overthink. Like when I got assigned my room in front quad, I was like, oh my god, no, because I really wanted to be in Carradus to get an ensuite. But like I think you really do get used to it, and like I arrived in my room and I was like, oh god, it's so small, I've got no ensuite, and I was panicking because I thought I was gonna hate it. But you just learn to love where you're living, and you're like I miss it now. Like
definitely. Like, and then I think something I really liked about the way accommodation works at Queen's, like again, kind of in comparison to some of the other colleges, is a lot of colleges have tiered accommodation. So they'll have it like bracketed A to G, for example, and you'll pay for what bracket you're in. Which I get as from a concept of like you get what you pay for, but also I find that sometimes maybe that can be a little bit exclusive. And that it requires you to kind of make a decision instantly. Whereas what happens at Queen's is everybody pays the same accommodation charge. And then in first year, your accommodation is just randomized because like all of the accommodation is very central and like quite nice. And then in second year, you get randomly balloted for your whole year. It gets like all mixed up, and you can swap places with people on the ballot and stuff, but then the ballot becomes fixed. So say you're 80th out of 100 on your ballot, that means that you get the 80th choice of room from your year. So in theory, you'll get the 80th nicest room if you kind of think about it like that. And then in third year, the ballot just flips like head to tail. So if you get like a kind of not nice room in second year, you'll get a really, really nice room in third year. So like people choose to swap in different places and things like that. So I think that's quite nice about Queen's, is like it is very fair the way that they accommodate and stuff.
Yeah, because I don't think the way the tiered system is very fair at all, especially because like Oxford does have this stigma around it of being like quite an elitist place and
quite class boundary based.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's a bit flawed to have a tiered system like that, where what would happen is you'd end up having the richest students living in the same building and the poorest students living in the same building, and then that would just reinforce like the class divide.
It's more divided.
That won't help anyone, can it? I don't think so.
I guess that's really helpful when you are moving into Queen's, because it saves you overthinking the accommodation side of things. And I mean, with you, for example, Charlotte, what a turnaround for when you first arrived all flustered, and now you're missing it. I think it's really nice to know that it's all randomized, and also the ballot system means that by the time you all leave the college, everyone's kind of equalized, because some people had it better in second, some people had it better in third year. So
yeah, definitely.
Right, well, I'll let you go, but just one final point for us all to think on is, if you had like one piece of advice to give to maybe your past self before you moved into Queen's, or to any other prospective applicants out there, what would it be? What would you want them to expect?
That's hard.
It is hard. Yeah, feel free to just jump in if you come up with something.
I think I'd go for just appreciate it, like, because I think it's so easy to get caught up in like the busyness and the excitement and the plans and all that kind of thing. But like, I find that like the times at which I'm most grateful to be at Queen's is like the times where it kind of catches you off guard, and I'll be rushing to a tutorial and then it's fine because my tutor's late, and I sit down and then I turn and look out the window and I have like the most like amazing view, and you're like, oh yeah, fair, I do actually live here. So I think that throwing yourself in and doing things like, you know, even if you're not religious, visiting the chapel. I'm not religious, and I've just had a wander in there sometimes because sometimes it's empty. Going to a formal hall, going to JCR meetings, and just kind of really, you know, working on every different level of the library, just kind of like really throwing yourself in would be my advice to anyone.
Yeah, I think also like just let yourself be spontaneous. Because I think sometimes at Oxford, like you do get a lot of work and you think, oh, I've got to do this, but then sometimes you know, I'll take a break and I'll think, oh, I need to go back to the library straight away, but then, you know, I'll think, you know, I'm just going to sit back and chat to my friends for a bit, and those nights can be some of the like most fun nights, and even though it kind of can put you back a little bit in terms of work, the memories that you make from just like having a spontaneous little chat and a chill is really nice. And I think you just have to give yourself time to wind down, and you know the work will get done at some point. You don't have to be like bang 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 like to a timetable all the time. You just have to let yourself chill sometimes and let yourself enjoy the little moments, like Kyla said.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. They're so valuable. And to anybody watching, of course, this isn't the end of the story. It might be that your interests are unique to those of Kyla and Charlotte at Queen's, and if so, you'll want to keep searching. But don't worry, that's why our content covers every single Oxbridge college you could ever wish to know about. So do follow the links below to the Oxbridge Formula blog, and you will discover the college which really is made for you, I promise. And you have our utmost support if you're looking to apply to Oxford or to Cambridge, and particularly at Queen's. Back me up. Thank you both for joining us today. I really hope our viewers will have learned as much about Queen's as I certainly have, especially drinking in the upper library and fun little things like that. It sounds like you're having such a wild time, and it would be so great if people could come and join you next year. I don't know. But I guess I'll have to say bye for now and see you again soon. Thank you very much.